Iranian woman here to tell you what is going on in Iran and why you should be paying attention. Hint, because it is a very familiar story. Most people believe that the story of Iran begins in 1979 with the Islamic Revolution, but our story actually goes much further back. It begins with the Red-Green Alliance, the alliance of the far-left Marxists with the far-right Islamists. Their union not only destroyed Iran, that ideology infected the West. That is why I say Iran is not the past. Iran is a warning of what happens when that ideology goes unchecked, and I'm about to tell you. So let's go back in time for a few short seconds. How did socialism make its way to Iran? A lot of people don't know this, but the Soviets actually entered Iran in the early 1920s and annexed a northern part of its territory, turning it into a socialist state. Well, like all other socialist states, it was obviously doomed to fail, and fail it did. But that wasn't before the Marxist ideology went underground in Iran, infecting Iranian textbooks, academic life, education, and the intellectual elite. But most importantly, what did this Marxist ideology teach young Iranians? It taught them that the West was their enemy and it was their moral duty to fight Western imperialism. This is what I call the Great Lie. Why? Because it was never about fighting the West or even making Iran a better place. It was about using our lands as a revolutionary launchpad for their communist dreams. Then came the turning point. In the 1960s, the Shah introduced the White Revolution. That was a modernization project. It increased women's rights, women's suffrage, education, literacy, land reforms, industrial expansion. It was supported by the Iranian people by referendum. But guess who rejected it? Of course, the Red-Green Alliance. They said that that type of modernization was westernization, and that couldn't happen in Iran. That was when the Marxists and the Islamists began setting fire to everything. That's why they set fire to Rex Cinema famously, because they said cinemas were a symbol of westernization. That movement eventually led to the 1979 revolution that overthrew the Shah and ushered in the Islamic regime. And who, pray tell, was the leader of this revolutionary movement? Ayatollah Khomeini. Like every practitioner of the Great Lie, he mastered borrowing Marxist language to promise free everything. Free water, free education, free healthcare, free housing, free transportation. Well, Iranians discovered very soon thereafter, turns out there's no such thing as a free lunch. It was, of course, a gigantic grift. What came next? We've all seen. A hands-made tale style, totalitarian theocracy, hanging, lynching, shooting, blinding, people just asking for basic human rights. And who were the very first people to be executed as soon as that regime came to power? The same leftists that ushered them in, convinced of the Great Lie. Now, almost 50 years later, after multiple attempts, this is what the Iranian people are rising up to free themselves from. And it is very important to pay attention to exactly what they're chanting. They're not just saying down with the dictator. They're saying in akharin nabarde Pahlavi barmigarde. What does that mean? It means this is the last battle, then Pahlavi will return. Why? Because Reza Pahlavi is the son of the last Shah, who they ousted because of the Great Lie. The Iranian people will choose their own future by referendum, but before they move forward, they must correct the mistakes of the past. They are calling for Reza Pahlavi as a closing of the karmic loop, a symbolic return to the Iranian civilization that we once knew before we move into an even greater future. That is why you should be paying attention to Iran, because Iran is not history. Iran is a warning. They are not just in the aftermath of tyranny, they are in the aftermath of the Great Lie. And that lie is here on our doorstep.